couple of months ago, a buddy of mine, John, down in Florida at Wax and Relax channel, made a video about some unpopular opinions that he has about some bands and music industry things that are going on. And so I thought I would make an unpopular opinions video of my own, and that is what we're going to be talking about on this episode of Northern Vinyl Guy. Hello everyone, Daryl the Northern Vinyl Guy coming at you with another video. And as I mentioned in my intro there, I am going to be talking about 8 unpopular, or what I might perceive as unpopular opinions in the music VC or the music industry. So these are things that may be controversial for some of you, depending on your taste and choice in music. And so I would love to go over, like I said, 8 of my opinions about bands and the music industry and my thoughts. So down in the comment section below, before we get started, let me know what you think of this. And I will leave a link to John at the Wax and Relax channel. He hasn't made a video for a couple of months, but I'm sure that he will be back at some point, so check him out. If you do, and as always, if you are new to my channel, please click the subscribe button, leave me a thumbs up, leave some comments down in the section below, and I hope that you enjoy this video. If you are a regular viewer to my channel, I appreciate your support, and let's keep this friendly, but I would love to know what your thoughts are about my opinions about the music industry. So without further ado, let's get going with opinion number 1. So opinion number 1, I know that this one probably isn't going to be controversial for everyone. This particular genre of music, disco, is not for everyone, and in fact, from what I have read, it is one of the few genres of music that actually has its own official end date, which I can't remember the exact day, but I think it's in 1978 or 79. But I'm going to be specifically talking about the disco group ABBA. I have a couple of ABBA albums in my collection, but I'm going to be honest with you, I really can't stand them. And, you know, I know that they were the be-all, end-all of the disco era, them and, say, Gloria Gaynor, maybe a few others, Donna Summers, but I just don't get the disco era. I don't get ABBA. I don't get the movie Mamma Mia. I really don't. I think that disco is kind of crap. It's trash, and along with that, I'm gonna say that ABBA goes in the trash bin as well. I will keep this in my collection just in case somebody comes over to my house and they go, hey, let's throw on some ABBA. I'm sure you've got ABBA in your collection, which, like I said, I do, but it's just not my cup of tea. And so, yeah, that'll probably be the least controversial, maybe, out of my unpopular opinions. ABBA, down the drain. All right, my number 2 unpopular opinion is, to be honest with you, I just don't get the whole audiophile thing that's going around in the VC. I mean, I get it to an extent that, yes, you want to have the best quality music and all that kind of stuff, but can I justify spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on an album, say, you know, if they came up with an audiophile version of, say, the Platters? No, this here, and I'm not afraid to admit it, I have an Audio-Technica 120, I think it is, with a set of Bose speakers. Do I need $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $40,000 of equipment in my collection? No. Am I okay with a Ringware copy of the Platters? Sure. What about my copy of the Electric Prunes, one of the, forerunners of the psychedelic music era? It's all taped together, and, do I need a brand new copy of this? Do I need a first edition press of this? Probably not. Is it cool? I like the music. Do I need an audiophile copy? No. And of course, should they be making audiophile copies of Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell? Maybe some people might think so, but do I really need an audiophile copy of Meatloaf? I love Meatloaf. Do I need this high quality sound on my turntable? No. So am I content with that? By all means, for sure. So that is my second unpopular opinion. Am I okay with audiophiles? Sure. Do I appreciate that they've souped up their collections and listened to the best quality? Of course I do. I appreciate that, but is it for me? No. All right, here we go with maybe a little bit of controversy. Number 3, the British invasion. What do I think of the British invasion? Well, I think the British invasion is amazing, but is it called the Beatles and the British invasion? Some people might think so, but I mean, the British invasion, yes, it was brought forth to us by the Beatles, but if we want to just call it the Beatles invasion, then why don't we call it the Beatles invasion? My issue with the British invasion is that it's the Beatles and everyone else. Do I appreciate the fact that they started it all off and brought British music to North America? For sure. But you know what? It's not the Beatles invasion. It's the British invasion. Why are we forgetting? And in fact, I actually like the Rolling Stones more than I like the Beatles. Yes, I said it. I like the Rolling Stones more than I like the Beatles. Just my opinion. But we forget about the Rolling Stones. We forget about Herman's Hermits and, I'm into something good, or I'm Henry VIII I am, and all of that good stuff, and Peter Noon and the silly music that comes with it. What about the greatness of Peter and Gordon? Did they bring the British invasion to North America? Did they bring it with them? Sure they did. Why isn't anybody talking about Tom Jones anymore? I mean, he's a judge on The Voice UK and things like that. I mean, he had a great part in this, maybe the mid to late part of the British invasion, but he is still there. What about female singers? Dusty Springfield. I mean, she brought the British invasion from a female perspective. Yes, she's not as popular as the Beatles. Yes, she didn't put out as many quality albums, but she still had some great music. It's the British invasion. And then at the very tail end of it, I know that this album didn't come out during the British invasion, but I mean, Pink Floyd has to be given their due at the end of the 1960s. I mean, they say that the British invasion went from 1963, 1964 to 1969. Well, Syd Barrett and company came out at that time. So, yes, the Beatles, they're there. Definitely the forerunners at the beginning of the British invasion. But do we forget that these other bands and these other musicians exist? Yes, and my opinion of it is there's more to the British invasion than just the Beatles. Yes, like the Beatles, do I need anything more than the Red and the Blue albums with their greatest hits? Me personally, no. I am not, a collector of Beatles music, and I probably never will be. All right, here we go. Unpopular opinion number 4. This is for you thrash metal people out there that think that Metallica sold out with the Black Album. Well, guess what? The Black Album is my favorite album by Metallica. I mean, yes, it went mainstream. Enter Sandman. We've got The Unforgiven. Wherever I May Roam. Don't Tread on Me. Through the Never. And Nothing Else Matters. These are all classic. Just like this album so much more than all the other Metallica albums. I said it. I like it more than their 1980s stuff. Do I have their 1980s stuff? Yes, I do. In fact, Ride the Lightning is a classic, perhaps my second favorite Metallica album. But do I think that it is better than the Black Album? No. Do I think that the, Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield and company sold out? No, I don't. In fact, I actually prefer it. Do I think Metallica has sold out in general? Possibly. Possibly when they did the whole Napster schmozzle. But do I think that they sold out on the Black Album? No. Do I think that it is a crappy album? No. Do I think it's thrash metal? Definitely not. So there you go. Unpopular opinion number 4. The Black Album is not a sellout album, and it is the best Metallica album. And speaking of best albums, well, this one here is going to upset you Pink Floyd fans. I know that this is a very unpopular opinion, and in fact, some Pink Floyd fans do believe that The Division Bell is not a good album. I think it is a fantastic album and a great return to their form from their 1970s stuff. So I did say it. Dark Side of the Moon, as much as I appreciate it, The Wall, as much as I appreciate it, I actually think that The Division Bell is the best Pink Floyd album, with different tracks. Take It Back and me personally, Coming Back to Life is a classic, and I think that the reason that this is my go-to is I never really got into Pink Floyd until my university days. But the inside covers and sleeves are gorgeous. I think that it is great music. High Hopes is another great song. So yeah, and I guess it doesn't help that this particular copy that I have in my collection I got from my daughter for Christmas one year. So there we go. But anyway, as noted, my number 5 unpopular opinion is that The Division Bell is the best Pink Floyd album that is out there. That is sure to cause some controversy. All right. Popular opinion number 6. Van Halen. What are my thoughts about Van Halen? Well, I know that there is the pre-David Lee Roth era, there is the David Lee Roth era, and there is the Sammy Hagar era. And as much as I like this one right here and Jump and the David Lee Roth era, my personal favorite Van Halen album is the Balance album from the early 1990s. I think it's a masterpiece. I think the Sammy Hagar and the early 90s era of Van Halen is fantastic. But you say, well, if you like it so much, why don't you have a vinyl copy in your collection? Well, it is not cheap if you want to buy some of the OGs, and I can't remember. I don't think it's been repressed as of recently, so for me to afford a copy of that album is just not feasible for me and my collection. All right, so Balance. That is my go-to Van Halen album. Probably not the most popular of opinions. All right, now why don't we talk about lyrics? Why don't we talk about songwriting? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe it's because of my Canadian roots. Maybe it's because I love Canadiana. But I think that Gordon Lightfoot is a better songwriter, a better lyricist, a better singer, better musician than good old Bob Dylan. Now, I do have Bob Dylan's greatest hits right here, and I do have the Slow Train Coming, but I will not own any other Bob Dylan albums. I don't see the need to own any more Bob Dylan. His greatest hits is fantastic. As my buddy Rob at Northern Revolution says, he kind of sounds like somebody running the rear end on the edge of a cheese grater. Do I think it goes that far? I appreciate it. I could listen to some Bob Dylan's greatest hits. But if I was to be a completionist, which in this case I'm not, but Gordon Lightfoot, I would be a completionist. If you could read my mind, Rainy Day People, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and more, I think that those are much classier songs. Maybe not classier, but to me, better lyrics-wise. My number 7 unpopular opinion, Gordon Lightfoot is a better songwriter and singer than Bob Dylan. All right, and last but not least, now this one I don't have any albums for, and I will tell you why. Specifically, this is maybe, this one here, my last one, number 8, might be controversial for my fellow Canadian VCers, but here we go. I do not like these 3 Canadian bands and musicians. It is unlikely that I will own them in my collection unless they are gifted to me. But Rush, I do not like Rush. I do not like Geddy Lee's voice. I love Neil Peart. Love him as a drummer. In fact, think he's probably one of the top 2 drummers of all time. My other favorite drummer, of course, is from Primus. Love the Primus drummer, so there you go. But yes, I am not a big Rush fan. Do I appreciate what they have done for Canadian music and Canadian rock music and the 1970s in Canada? For sure. Number 2 on this one, my B point, I do not really get. I don't understand the Tragically Hip. Once again, I get what they did for the Canadian music industry in the late 1980s and all through the 1990s and early 2000s. Did I watch Gord Downie and the Tragically Hip at their last major performance that was live? Yes, I did. I took it all in and I thought it was fantastic. But do I get the Tragically Hip? No. Do I understand them? Yes. Who would I rather listen to instead? Well, I'd rather listen to something like Blue Rodeo. It's just more my cup of tea. And going back to Mr. Lightfoot here. I love Gordon Lightfoot. But some Canadians are going to argue that there is a better poet, that there is a better writer, there is a better folk singer possibly, and that would be Leonard Cohen. But I just don't get Leonard Cohen. I appreciate Hallelujah. I appreciate some of his music, but I will never own it. I do not like his raspy, grovelly voice. I find it extremely boring. And I just think he's overrated from a Canadian perspective. So there you have it. 8 unpopular opinions. Some of them you might agree with, some of you might disagree with. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As I mentioned earlier, if you like my content, you are new to it, please click the subscribe button, leave me a thumbs up, comments down below. And for all my regular viewers, I do appreciate you watching this video if you've got this far. Keep it friendly. Keep it wonderful. If you disagree with me, let me know down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and your comments. And until next time, take care, everyone, and stay safe.